Hey, what do you know? It's another Tuesday night with the old Hawkster. Thanks everybody for joining tonight. Greatly appreciate it as always. So we're gonna do a little, as Travis mentioned before, a little slight clickbait slash debating tonight. See kind of how the old ECBP debate goes tonight. But we'll get into that in a little bit. I kind of set up the little bit of a kind of a not really a blind. I know what each one of them is labeled in A, B, and C. So can't get confused at all tonight with any numbers or anything along those lines. So it should be pretty straightforward on that, and it's going to be kind of a little bit of a informal, I'll say, blind for the most part. Usually, what I try to do with the ECBP towards the end of the year is actually do a blind and then kind of rank them based on least favorite to favorite. So we'll see how it all kind of shakes out. But tonight will be a little bit different because prior to that, we'll have a few other whiskeys that I'm going to kind of go over tonight. First, right out of the gate, the new Sazerac. I've got to thank Top Jimmy Toby for sending me this. I know this thing came out not that long ago, but was really kind of interested to see exactly how the new Sazerac rye was going to be at 100 proof. So I've got a couple of the 90 proofs that I keep on hand downstairs for basically Manhattans for the most part is usually what I use it for. But yeah, I want to see kind of how the 100 proof is. This will be the first time trying it tonight. Literally just open up the bottle maybe about an hour or so ago, poured the thing maybe 15 minutes ago. So we'll see exactly what it is. So, all right, Modern Thirst. There's Mr. Straub representing a little 4-gate in here. Look at this. Boom. There you go. Anyway, so we'll get into that in a little bit and go over that. So tonight, before we get into the ECBP, I've got obviously the Sazerac Rye 100 proof. You guys can let me know if anybody has had that and your thoughts on that. I've got a Still Austin, the new fall release, their oldest, I think, bourbon that they've released to date, which is now over 7 years, which is going to be their fall release, just their straight bourbon whiskey. So excited to kind of get into that. I think Still Austin for me still, and you guys can agree or disagree, but it's still sexy beast. It's still kind of, for me, falls or flies under the radar a little bit. And I think it has, in my opinion, everything to do with the fact that it's Texas whiskey. You guys can agree or disagree with me on that, but let me know. Is Still Austin still a brand that is kind of, I don't want to say necessarily underrated, but still kind of flying under the radar a little bit? And then third is now we have gone away from cigar batches and cigar blends. We are now doing humidor blends. This is the newest release from Sealbox, and I'll let you guys know what that is in a little bit. This is their this is batch number 1. So just got this the other day from Sealbox. So looking forward to kind of getting into that and seeing what that is. Yes, it does have Amburana in it. Apparently it's only, I think, 1 or 2%. So we'll see, what kind of impact that has. The other finishes that are in there are going to be something I think are going to probably overshadow that a bit, but we'll see exactly what that thing's like. But anyway, let me say hi to a few people that were in here kind of early. And hey, if you haven't, do me a favor, hit the old thumbs up button. Greatly appreciate it. The old YouTubes and the algorithms love the interaction. So the more you guys comment, the more that helps me out. So I greatly appreciate it. So let's go back here. Yeah, Sugar Kitty is coming in first, man. Was slipping there for a little while, and just the way it goes. James Lay says LFG Hawkster given the shocker. No, not that kind of live stream tonight, as I had mentioned before. So good to see you. There he is, Top Dog. Good to see you, Johnny. Mr. Randall Erickson, good to see you, brother. Always nice to see Randall in here. This guy, on the other hand, we'll see. I don't see Travis in a couple, not even a couple weeks. Pretty much a, let's see, what are we at? Almost a week and a half-ish or so. We'll see. Yeah, maybe 9-10 days. Gonna be fun. I guess shameless plug. If you have not gotten and you want to be a part of the Bardstown Blitz, again, shameless plug. I do have the link for the event pinned in here. So feel free to pick up a ticket or two. Or if you have a million or a friend, have them buy up the rest of the tickets. Looking to get rid of the last few that are still remaining, but looking forward to a great, great event. And we'll talk a little bit about that later on tonight as well. So, Marty Party, Mr. Whiskey Nose, good seeing you, buddy. Yep, 9 days. I'll be there. Let's see, a little bit earlier. We get in, I think, late on Wednesday, I believe. So we'll see how that goes. Mr. Brady the Great, good to see you, buddy. I was chatting with Brady earlier on. Mr. TR again, top dog. Let's see, what do we got here? Mr. Roy R. Walks, good to see you, Mr. Roy R. Walks. Always good to see Roy. JG, the ball buster himself. There he is. Good to see you, buddy. I'll see him in a couple weeks as well. Mr. Bill Straub, modernthirst.com, also known as Mr. Forgate. So good to see you, Bill, as always. Corvette Trey, good to see you, brother, as always. Mr. Girth Brooks, they will let anybody in this place. So ECBP for life. I feel like as much of this stuff I drink and as much of a fan of it is, I should get a nice little tattoo of that. So been drinking already, I see. So just jumped the shark with, oh boy, interesting. Okay. There's Eric. Just saw Eric last week this time. Was nice to finally meet Eric and hang out with a few guys and do some nice reverie picks. So it was always good to see Eric. Mr. Ed Williams, I'll see Ed in a few days as well. So good to see you, Ed. Good to see Jonathan here in a few days too. There's a lot of people in here I'll be seeing in a few days. So good to see you, Jonathan, as always. Don't get me going. I'm focusing on it this way. Yes, exactly. There you go. You redeemed yourself. So yes, I huge Brewer fan here. So excited to see how things are going. I'm pretty sure Bill Straub, who's a huge Cubs fan, he just tuned out. So it was good seeing you tonight, Bill. So we'll see. It's still, you never know, man. Until it's over, it's not over. That's the way baseball is, and really anything, I'll tell you at this point. So yeah, I saw you were down there. It looked like you're having a good old time. So the sober tray. I don't believe you. Nicholas, good to see you, brother. Always good to see Nicholas. Yeah, no kidding. Trust me, like we've discussed whether or not it's like a move we should have made. So it probably would have made my life a hell of a lot easier, that's for sure. So Viking Bourbon, good to see you, buddy. Appreciate you jumping in tonight. Oh, yes, I forgot. We are going to see Girth Brooks in a few days as well. So for anybody who's not met Mr. Girth Brooks, you're in for a real treat, I'll tell you that. So he's kind of, just look for, he's kind of a small guy. You'll see he's kind of a small, quiet guy. So once you see that guy standing in the corner, small, quiet, you'll know that's Girth Brooks. So anyway, all right. So tonight's, I guess, topic will be ECBP and whether or not these things are still a buy or sell. You can be in whatever category that you want with that. But it'll be interesting. You guys can let me know in the comments below how you feel with all of that. But before we do, let's kind of raise a glass to you guys. Cheers for everybody joining tonight. And let me know also in the chat what your pour is for the evening, or what one of your pours for the evening will be. So dive into this. Boy, it's actually the first time smelling it right now. A little bit of a really kind of nice like sweet, like rye, like a sweet grain note. Doesn't have like a youthful kind of note, just has a really nice sweetness, a little bit of like mint. There's a little bit of a tartness that's there as well, mixing kind of with some of that sweetness. Almost feels like a little bit of a push and pull of like a lemon lime, something like that, but with a little bit maybe more citrus that's there. So who knows? I've been excited to really try this. As soon as I heard that they were releasing 100 proof, I thought, man, this will really make, for me, I think, a much I guess, more rounded cocktail. I think that 10 proof point will just add to a little bit more richness of whatever that drink is. And again, I think 100 proof whiskeys, bottle and bond, call them whatever you want. It doesn't have to be a bottle and bond, but I think it has, I mean, I think it's a great category. I enjoy sipping on a really good 100 proof, bourbon or rye. So that for me is kind of that, everyday-ish kind of pour, like that 100, 105, something, around there, where it still has enough flavor that will kind of hold your attention and want or allow you to kind of continue to sip on the thing. So I don't know. I'm a big fan of what 100 proof bourbon or rye or whatever can do. So all right, JD, what do you got? No, no, no Ben Gay. So yeah, see, I agree. I think 100 proof, and a lot of people, whether you agree or not, it just kind of is that, like Bill said, it's that sweet spot of for a whiskey that if it's a good one, man, it really can just hit home. Like it just holds your attention enough that you know exactly what it is you kind of have. And this already feels much thicker, definitely richer. Now, and I've had some of the, 'cause I mean, I have it for cocktails and stuff all the time, but you can already tell, even off of like this neck pour, there's an extra layer of richness with those extra 10 proof points, that are there without it being watered down. I think it's made a huge, huge difference. This now being a liter bottle, I don't know. Do they still make it in the 750 with the 100 proof? I don't know if they're going to or not, but I was interested once I saw this. I didn't even know it was necessarily a liter bottle, but when I saw it, I think it's maybe, I don't know, 35 or 40 bucks. I don't think you can really go wrong with that, especially if you're looking for, I guess, two things. Like I kind of try to look at 100 proof category as not only being a nice little sipping, bourbon or rye, but how well can it or will it hold up in a cocktail? And so far, just after sipping this thing once, you can tell there's a little bit extra kind of richness, denseness to this thing. Have you guys had the new Sazerac 100 proof yet? If you have, I'd be interested to hear your comments or let me know, below as to, your thoughts on it overall. But so far, just these first couple of sips, I mean, it's really, really holding up well. I mean, I can't imagine it not being better in a cocktail. So, you know what? That's a good point. I wonder if at some point they release that. Marty, that's a good point. I wasn't even thinking about that, but I figure, or to your point, I guess why wouldn't they? I mean, Buffalo Trace, I mean, they're large enough. They have enough of it, I'm sure, that they can make that some kind of special release. I guess I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. Is there anything that they've released recently, not as Sazerac, but a cast strength rye other than Knob Creek that they would have released like recently that would have been something similar? And off the top of my head, I can't think of anything other than, yeah, I see the Thomas Handy, but with that being part of BTAC, it's whether or not you can get your hands on it or not. I mean, it's a fantastic, rye, but who knows? Do you know that for sure? I'm just curious. I haven't heard or seen anything, but was just kind of curious, and again, I think at 35 or 40 bucks for a liter, I don't know, it's still in that really affordable category that makes it kind of nice for everything, to be honest. Hmm. Way more like kind of orange spice kind of coming out in this thing. Man, I really like that. if you would tell me that this thing was finished, I may believe you. There's a really, as this thing has sat here, it's really gotten very citrus heavy, but with a really, really nice spice, long finish, man. It gives you a little bit of a hug as well. So give me a liter in cola. I'll tell you, there's one in every group. Let's see. Yeah, the Rossville unit store picks 100 proof. 100 proofers are underrated and overlooked. You know what? I tend to kind of agree with that being all the MGP stuff. It's kind of crazy. So look at this guy coming in hot with a big old $50 super chat. I'll tell you, never ceases to amaze me with Mr. Top Jimmy. Toby, thank you, brother. I can't say thank you enough for that. Means a lot. Not only were you nice enough to get the bottle and send it to me, I greatly appreciate that. Fantastic little 100 proof rye whiskey so far. But yeah, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate it. And yeah, hit the old thumbs up if you guys haven't yet. Helps out quite a bit. So TJ, thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Yeah. So anyway, I guess I would say with this so far, 100% buy. I think it's a great little bottle. Plan on probably doing a little review of that on Friday with a couple other things. Gonna try to start doing a few other, not necessarily reviews, but some different things. So hopefully that will resonate with a few of you on some things, but kind of do some maybe little fun lists and things along those lines, kind of just changed up a little bit. The monotony of always just reviewing a particular whiskey, becomes exactly that, like just a little monotonous, and you kind of want to get outside of doing that. Not to say I won't do more reviews of things, but it's fun to do that. So again, another shameless plug. If you haven't seen the review of the C925, I dropped that. Was it yesterday or the day before? One of the two. So you can check that out too. So greatly appreciate it. All right, let's see what else we got here. So anyway, I'll go back to this Sazerac rye, 100% buy for me. I think this is a great little rye whiskey. All right, let's set this aside. Get that there. Now here again, we're gonna go right to the Still Austin. Let me get a glass here. Pour this little bad boy up. Get some water. Cheers, John. Good to see you, brother. Appreciate that. All right, let's pour this. All right, so this is the fall 2025 release, their oldest bourbon, I believe, that they've released to date, outside of any kind of special release. But now we're getting up outside of 7 years, above 7 years old, 100 proof. Again, age stated on the front. I know right by my thumb, it's probably hard to see because it's small, but we're going to give this one a kind of a try, tackle this a little bit, see exactly what this one has to offer. Probably should have poured this a little bit earlier, but whatever. So huge fan of what it is Still Austin does. Generally speaking, all of their releases I've been a really big fan of. And I think as these whiskeys start to age more and the people behind the brand, John and Nancy Fraley and everybody that are down there, their attention to detail has really shown, I think, in the last couple of years with the releases that they've put out. And as the stuff gets to a little bit more age, I mean, we know how quickly things can age in Texas. So now that we're starting to get into 7+ years, you're starting to get into probably a really nice sweet spot for Texas whiskeys. And it's been, I'm going to say, the past couple of years that I've just kind of really enjoyed what it is that Still Austin has put out there. They do a great job. Yeah, John Cloud does or John Cloud. I was thinking of John down at Still Austin, but they do an absolutely incredible job with their whiskeys. and we'll see what this one's going to be. So I wanted to open this one tonight so I could kind of get after this one in the next few days and hopefully do a review of. But again, we're going to tackle the Still Austin age 7 years straight bourbon whiskey, their fall 2025 release. So. It's my brother from another mother. I was curious how the what the score of the Mets game was tonight. Oh, never mind. I can't. I had to. I apologize. I sent Jason a funny video the other day of my as a Yankees fan with a Met fan walking by, and I figured it was a funny thing I think I saw on Instagram, and it was so it was so New York, it was crazy with that. But anyway, I got off the rails a little bit. I've got a lot of baseball on my mind right now with as good as the Brewers have been doing. So excited to watch those. So hopefully if there's any Cubs fans in here, I apologize. You guys have been disappointed the past few nights, and they've the Brewers have definitely taken care of business. So, all right, back to hand. Oh man, that's interesting. What is that? JG. Nobody asked you. No one asked you, this guy. My wife and I were just talking today. We'd be excited to see Toronto and the Brewers end up in the World Series. That'd be good with her being Canadian. Not that she's a huge Blue Jays fan or anything, but it'd be fun. Or as some of you guys would look at it as the Canadian series. So yeah, it's Nicholas tough. It's a tough staff right now. That's for sure with everything going on. That's baseball in a nutshell, man. It's the injuries and when you're healthy and staying. I mean, it's or when you're injured, when you're staying healthy. It's man, it's a grind. I'll tell you. There's a little bit of this almost like butter pecan with a fruit layer on this. That is like really dense. I must say, even like like a really heavy, like vanilla custard, like almost like if I don't know, like maybe like fresh custard or something. Nice, really nice spice to that. There's something I think brown sugars as well. Man, it's a beautiful nose. Did I see the boss in here before? I think I did. There she is. What's up, Katie? Good to see you, as always. We'll see Ethan and Katie in a few days as well, or 9 or 10 days, something like that. All right, let's give this thing a try. Mr. Paulie P. Paul's doing some fun stuff for us. I'll keep it a little bit of a secret for the Blitz. We'll let you. I haven't even told Jason what I was chatting with Paul today, so I won't let the cat out of the bag yet. But a couple little fun things for everybody at the Blitz. So that'll be fun for you guys. All right, let's give this one a try. Man, soft, velvety. I think a lot of the nose matches the palate. Nice spice, really nice spice right away. Soft, creamy vanilla. Wouldn't say it feels like the finish is overly long. It's more, I'm gonna say more of a texture pour than it is a finish pour. Um, but we'll see. Let's see here. Oh, hang on one second here. Oh yeah, I just saw it. Like Marty has sent me something about the Sazerac Rye 125. Oh yeah, it is. Okay, 125 proof. All right. Thanks for sending me that. Anyway, the with the Still Austin, this thing is yeah, it has way more of those kind of like again, rich brown sugars, a little bit of that kind of butter pecan, nice spice factor, again, more creamy, nice texture. Again, not as long of a finish. There's this interesting fruit layer to it, and I don't know if it's like a black cherry kind of mixing with some like really nice kind of either leather or tobacco notes. What's up, Tom? Um, it has on the finish a little bit of this confectionery sweetness. I know I was saying like a really nice custard, but the finish is almost with this confectionery sugar kind of feel, with also mixing with that fruit, brown sugars. It's very interesting, and I think that's one of the things that I really enjoy a lot about Still Austin is that it gives you kind of just an interesting profile. And I think now that it's starting to age up, you're going to start to hopefully see, if this is any indication of that, a change in profile. So that alone will be an interesting thing to kind of watch. So just based on this right now, um, I think, and again, price wise, I'm going to say this is around $80 or so. So for again, 100 proof bourbon at $80, probably a little bit more of a premium. But again, I think you got to consider a lot of the things that they're doing and kind of why that is $80. So again, that will be for you to decide whether or not you want to pony up the $80 for it. But at the end of the day, just based on that, I really, really enjoy the profile. It'll be really fun to kind of sit down later at some point this week and start to do more kind of in-depth tasting notes on that. But so far, I'm digging what the fall 2025 release from the Still Austin for their straight bourbon whiskey kind of has to offer. So if you guys have, see it, give it a try. If you have, come back, let me know what your thoughts are on that. So, all right, let's dive into last but definitely not least. And before we get into any of the ECBP stuff tonight, didn't I open this thing already? Maybe not. No, I didn't. All right, so good Bob, good cork pop on that one. Oh, okay, all right. Let's see what we got with this guy. We have now, like I said before, we have moved on. We've moved on from cigar batches. We are now into humidor batches. So kind of like the little play on that. So we'll see how that goes. What did I miss? Did I miss anything here? Cheers, Peter. Good to see you. Who else we got here? Anybody else new in here? Greg S. Good to see you, Greg. Thanks for jumping in tonight. I already said hi to Paul. What else we got here? Tom's in here. Bourbon Jerks now. If you guys, everybody knows Tom and the Bourbon Jerks. He's got his son with him now, which is pretty darn cool. What else we got? Anything? No. Okay. Oh, are you saying this will be the one that jumped the shark? I don't know, man. I'm just leery of like anything. There just seems to be something out there for everyone. And I don't know what. To me, there's no way this is going to be something that gets to the point where it jumps the shark. Like there's going to be more of these. There's going to be more of other things. There will continue to put out cigar blends, cigar batches, humidor blends, whatever it may be. They're always going to continue to do different things. Now, with this one, I think the important part is this may kind of fall in line a little bit more with the Joseph Magnus than it does some of the other ones. So this does have, all right, so let's see. The blends here, Silbox humidor blend, straight bourbon whiskeys, finished in Spanish oak, cognac, and Amburana casks. And the blends, I saw it somewhere, it's $100. The one thing I did see was in terms of the amount of Amburana that was being used in the total blend of all the casks, that only 2% of that was used in this. So there might be, and in the article that I was reading or the card that they sent, Blake was indicating that they really felt that that extra little 2% really helped to round this thing out. So we'll kind of dive into it and see exactly what this thing is. But let me get a little water here. Put it here. Heck of a lot easier to grab though. So it's not gonna stop. Yeah. See? Look at JG thought this thing jumped the shark. Look at all the possibilities. We got bong batch, we got the vape batch. What did Marty have? The nicotine batch, like nicotine batch. Oh man. See, there's so many ways where you can go with this thing. It's all kinds of, there's all kinds of possibilities. So anyway, but I think it'll be interesting. I mean, Blake brings a little bit of a different perspective because of his, you know, early on. I mean, he was a lot like what we did. He enjoyed all of these different things. So I think when he's doing a lot of this stuff, he's kind of also putting himself a little bit in our shoes, or anybody who may do any blending or batching or anything along those lines, you know. So I think we get a little bit of a different perspective from that standpoint, or coming at it from a little bit of more of a kind of a different angle. So job. Oh, jeez, I'll tell you. Marty already made the the chew batch. Yeah, I don't know how you can taste anything other than chew, but whatever, man. To each their own. That's why he's a professional. So don't try that at home, kids. Man, I'll tell you what. 100% on the nose. If you would have told me that there was any amburon in this thing, I'd have told you you're kidding. Which is maybe the only anything I've ever had with amburana in it that you don't just smell necessarily that immediately. I think that Spanish oak and that cognac are really really dominating any of that. Now, whether or not that adds to any of the sweetness layer throughout this thing, we'll find out. But so far on the nose, I wasn't getting really any of it at all. Yeah, like I'm not getting really any of that. I mean, there's some sweetness, but it's not that like cinnamon apple or cinnamon toast or apple cinnamon crunch, whatever you're, whatever it is you smell with amburana, but that's just not there. It's a pretty rich, it's a pretty rich whiskey. A lot of us know what the Spanish oak can kind of do. We've released a few of those or a couple of those through the Mash and Dirty Whiskey Club. So you have a little bit of a perspective on that. That can add some layer of sweetness, all of that. Yeah, color is pretty darn fantastic. If you see sideways, I mean, it's pretty dark. I mean, I think what it's showing on the camera is a pretty close representation of what it really looks like here right in front of me. So yeah, I mean, it has a lot of this kind of earthiness I think you get from that cognac is the first thing I think I'm picking up is that earthy slate, like rich red grape kind of note, not like necessarily like a huge wine finish or anything like that, but that real nice earthiness that you may get from a cognac. And the Spanish oak, I don't know if that's adding a little bit of the kind of pepper and spice that's there. Oftentimes, the Spanish oak can be very, very sweet, very layered and textured at the same time. But man, if you told me there was amburana in this thing, I don't think anybody would know that at all. So, all right, let's give this one a try, and then we'll dive into some of the ECBPs and see what these things are, and kind of get your perspective on those things. So, cheers. Hmm. Yeah, man, I don't know if That's spicy. It's very it's very robust. It's very savory. Little bit of sweetness that's there. Way more of those kind of leathers, tobaccos. It's a darker whiskey for sure. Some underlying sweet notes, more on the finish, maybe mid palate finish part of it. But yeah, definitely a lot more of those earthier kind of undertones that this thing has to it. Leather, tobacco, again, some brown sugars, that cognac, a little bit of that earthiness that's there. Maybe with some of the Spanish oak that's there is maybe layering in a little bit of that sweetness. The Amburana, it would be interesting to know what this would have tasted like before that was added, just to kind of see. But it's nothing that I'm really picking up that would be anything like, I'll say, any of us have had before that's had any Amburana like on the label at all. This is probably the least amount I've ever tasted with it being on the label. So whatever they had, I don't know what that's necessarily doing to it, unless it's just adding a little bit of that sweetness. But it's a pretty dark, like kind of rich whiskey. Let's see, what did I say? I don't know if I said proof. With this thing, what was that? 118.6 blends of 10-year 3 months, 7-year 8 months, and a 5-year 3 month blends. The blended mash bill was 85 11 4 corn, wheat, and malted barley. So no rye in this thing. So it's a wheater that's finished in Spanish oak, cognac, and Amburana. So apparently no rye in this one. They said they blended it to pair with a cigar, which doesn't surprise me. I think this is probably, in all honesty, right now, one of the better ones. I think it has a enough richness to hold up to that heavy tobacco leaf kind of feel. Now, depending on what kind of cigar you're smoking, that could have a huge factor as well. But I'm going to say anything that's probably medium plus, this whiskey will hold up perfectly fine. So, yeah, I'll bring this whiskey along to the meetup, and you guys can see, for anybody who wants to smoke a cigar, see exactly what that one will be like for it. So, but anyway, I'll say this, man. I think for $100, what it is, how they blended it, some of the ages, the color, I think for what this thing is, I don't know, it kind of feels like appropriately priced, I think, for what it is. I know some people might argue, there's not enough older stuff in there to warrant $100, but we've got finishing casks, all that other good stuff. So there's that to consider as well. It's not just a straight bourbon whiskey. So anyway, yeah, lots of corn. You know what? The thing, Eric, I'm not picking up like a ton of sweetness. Like I said before, there's a lot more of this savoriness than like a decadence. There is some sweetness that's there, but it has a lot of those richer, darker undertones to it that would probably hold up really, really well with a cigar. I think there's enough of that component, and then mixing with a little bit of that sweetness, that kind of allows that to work, really, really well together. So far I'm kind of digging it. Again, I just literally opened this thing, while we've been talking with everyone. So it's, what this does, if it opens up in the next, week or whatever it may be, I'll bring it and see what happens. Yeah, I might pour that thing blind for some people and see what the reaction is from some on that. That'll be interesting right there. A nice little bottle, actually. The Humidor Blend Cigar Batch. All right. covering all our bases on the old cigar theme with the seal box one. I believe that just went on sale too. So I think I saw something the other day. It is now for sale. So if anybody October 2nd, available October 2nd at sealbox.com. So if you somehow feel inclined to go grab a bottle, I would recommend it. I think you're going to really, really dig it. And I think it'll pair really well with a cigar. So, all right, let's dive into the ECBP stuff, and we'll see exactly what we've got. So, you let me know, where are we at with this? But I need some context. I know when I release stuff before, asking, ECBP, bypass, and why, here's going to be my lobbying for it. So usually when I'm kind of doing barrel picks, and a lot of you guys all know this, it's my kind of baseline in my mind. I know what, some of the better ones are, and like what you try to compare that to see if it falls or meets like those kind of expectations. So, to me, it's always been a very good pour. And I've said to others before, to me, it seems to be the release or releases every year that gets kind of nitpicked the most. And I think a lot of it has to do with, and again, this is partially, I don't want to say Heaven Hill's fault. It's just, how they, designed it. But once they dropped the 12-year age statement, we knew that we weren't any longer dealing with a minimum of 12 years within that blend. So that could go anywhere, right? So once that part was kind of eliminated, now it was kind of a, I don't know, like it was just, they could do whatever they wanted, right? So we've been hit with some high, like the C923, an absolutely amazing bourbon at what it was at 13 years, 7 months, 8 months, something along those lines. But tremendous. Like, I mean, just a very, very good bourbon, maybe one of the better releases that we've maybe all had in the last, whatever, couple of years, 2-3 years. To me, it was that good. Now, that can't always be the baseline, right? I mean, that's a lot of age stuff. So we knew there was going to be other things in there that were going to be higher aged, bourbon. So we can't always get that. But, I try to look at it a little bit different. And I don't know, maybe I look at this with, kind of rose colored glasses a little bit, because it's always been a bourbon that I've enjoyed and enjoy each one for different reasons. Now, don't get me wrong. Are there some that are better than others? Sure. But at the end of the day, and this will be a question for a lot of you, for $75, I'm going to say nowadays, fairly readily available at some point. What are there being cast strength, higher proof, generally bourbons, $75, readily available, that you're buying, that are at the end of the day as good or better than this release. So I mean, you can put that in the comments. I would love to hear like what that is and reasoning, because I've asked people, and some people will say, buy or pass or whatever it may be. But to me, there needs to be some context as to why even for the C920, or excuse me, C925, 129 proof, 9 years, 1 month, 9 year, 1 month being the youngest whiskey, in this blend. We don't know what else is there. But at the end of the day, we know that's the youngest. So that's been the smallest age statement that I believe that they've released since they dropped the 12 on the bottle. But this year it was the highest proof of the whole entire batch. So, again, a little more push and pull for those things there. but we'll see. So you guys let me know in the comments with some context if you can. Why is this either still a buy or pass? Is it still a really good value, in your mind? To me, it still is. So, all right, Chris, what do you got? So, pre 2021 is what pulled me into the bourbon and hunting from 2021 onward. Besides C923, they are solid, but nothing stands out. And I guess, and I guess I'll follow up to that. If nothing stands out, what are some of the other, not single barrels or anything like that, any club picks or whatever? What other bottles that you can buy are going to, either meet or exceed that cast strength, those kind of proofs? Generally, let's just say 9 to 11 years at this point for 75 bucks. What's better? Name a bottle, put it in the chat. I mean, I just want to know what you guys are thinking as well. So, um I'm just I'm just curious as to what the argument for why this thing. um You know what? I don't know. Like I guess my argument would be with this versus rare breed. I don't think rare breed is nearly as rich or as complex as these ECBPs are. Now, again, that's me. I love this profile, but if you gave me both of those next to each other, I could pick it out in a heartbeat. It wouldn't even be, I don't think, close. Now, again, that's me and maybe my you know my really, I guess, strong enjoyment for the Elijah Craig barrel proofs, but I don't know. And I think rare breed maybe only 55 bucks. Now, again, is it close? Probably, So I'll say rather buy Jack Daniels single barrel proof over ECBP all day. Um, all right, I can see that. I guess some of those like single barrels and things along those lines with some of those. Now whether or not you're able to get all of those like in your area, I don't know if the Jack Daniels like single barrels are as, I guess to me, as readily available as the ECBPs. I don't know. Maybe they are for a lot of other people. I don't see it nearly as much. Maybe they become a little bit more, but I don't know. So, what else we got? I think it's good, but man, I just don't know if the argument of it being like a richer or a darker profile, it's definitely less expensive. There's no doubt about that. Is it is it better? I mean, is it better? I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm just curious. So, yeah, I'll tell you. It's an interesting perspective. So, um to me, I think the profile of Elijah Craig, the heavier oak, oftentimes the more fruit layers, to me, like picking it out, I guess I don't want to say one's better than the other. And again, this comes down to preference, but I think in terms of overall like richness that a whiskey has and complexity, I think ECBP, in my mind, exceeds what you get from a rare breed. Now, can there be exceptions? Sure. But I think if you put most, I'm going to say even average ECBP next to an average rare breed, I don't know, to me, it's not even close. But again, to each their own. I'm always curious to see what people, say about those things. So, um, yep, you can get some that are definitely richer and more complex than others. Now, I'll say this: I tend to enjoy a little bit more of an oakier, slightly richer like bourbon. Um, so that's maybe why I kind of lean in that category, and maybe a little bit away from like a rare breed. I would say honestly, you might get a little bit of a richer kind of whiskey in some of the, even at 110 proof, you might get some slightly darker or richer profiles in some of the Russell single barrels than you do the ECBP. I don't know. I mean, maybe that could be an argument. You guys can agree or disagree, but I thought that was kind of interesting as well. So, Richie's in the house. Good to see you, Richie. That'd be a fun one. I don't think in my mind, I don't think the rare breed would have a chance against the ECBP and Jack Daniel's single barrel, but could be wrong. And again, maybe it just comes down to palate and your profile preference. I mean, it has a lot to do with that too, and picking things out and what it is that works, both. So again, this isn't like I'm not trying to argue with anyone. I'm just trying to get a perspective on, what it is and why people either don't think it's a great value at 75 bucks and what it is are leaning to. And clearly rare breed is one of those things. Um, but let's see. All right. So Kitty says Jack Daniel's single barrel proof, available, but not as much as ECBP. For me in New Jersey, similar price, but not always there. That was maybe one of my only arguments with the Jack Daniels. And again, it's a great, I mean, if you can get those single barrel proofs at or around that 75 bucks, hands down, fantastic, fantastic bourbon. Not going to argue with you on that at all. I think that's a much closer comparison, like by far, than I do rare breed to Elijah Craig barrel proof, but whatever. It's a great one, I would say. And I think those are maybe in the same price range, ish. A lot of us, I'll tell you this, we've become very, very semi-spoiled with a lot of great bourbons that are just sitting on the shelves. I mean, even if you think back to the Jack Daniel's single barrel proof rye, man, you can see those things in stores now once in a while, and they just sit there. Before, people used to go crazy over that stuff. You couldn't find them anywhere, and people were buying them on secondary and everything. So it just goes to show you, kind of where we're at within the whiskey world at this point. So yeah, I mean, those some of the 2020s, little bit different. You were kind of towards the, let's see, when did they change? Was it 2020 that they ultimately changed or got rid of the age statement? I'm trying to remember what the first year was. No, it had to be after. It had to be after that because they had the Elijah Craig was in the 2017. So I think maybe 2016 or 2017 might have been the first time that they switched to the new bottle design and then lost the age statement. So, um, and fair enough, and that's perfectly fine. If that's something that you enjoy more, then that's the way. That's a good example of, I guess, applying some context. If you enjoy a profile more than the other, then that's probably why this may not be uh, a buy for you necessarily. For me, they always will be. I think I enjoy that profile that much that I like to see what the differences are from release to release. And I've had some people even on the newest one saying that this was the worst release ever. I don't know if it's the worst release ever. And again, worse, better, bad, whatever. I don't know. I mean, whatever it is to you, that's fine. But I think to call that like a bad bourbon, I don't know. That's semi crazy to me to call it like a bad bourbon. So yeah, definitely agree on some of the single barrel Russells. To me, they have a richer profile than even the rare breed does. So if I was going to for both of them, I'd probably go Russells before I'd go rare breed. For me, it's just always been a little bit too thin. I don't know why. It just never been of the turkey stuff and rare and it just never really been as much of a favorite of mine. Like I prefer the Russells by far over the rare breed. So um fair enough. Yeah, the C923 was a that was a pretty special bottle. That's a bottle that a lot of people are going to be happy they've had or tried down the road at some point. So yeah, some of the Four Roses, unfortunately, they're now Michael. I think with some of the Four Roses single barrels, I mean, you're starting to get into 110, maybe 115 range. So now we're whatever, maybe almost $40 more in comparison. Don't get me wrong, fantastic profiles. Absolutely love Four Roses. Love that profile as well. Not as readily available, but I would see if you were going to do like a comparison. I think some of the Four Roses single barrels could be kind of right in line with that. I don't know. 2023 wasn't the first year. Are you saying that they lost the age statement or what? No, 2023 wasn't the first year that they lost was it? I don't know. Can never go wrong with these. So we got spoiled with those, going back maybe 3 years ago at this point now, when we had some big age statements. And even when those things were 10, 11, 12, 13, some were even more. We got so spoiled with those things at like $45, maybe 50 tops. And those things would just sit on the shelves. And now everybody probably wishes they had boatloads of those things. I mean, they were fantastic. But with what Scott said, I think, the Knob Creek single barrels, that 125 proof probably comes again pretty darn close to that. If you find them, probably pretty close to that price range. If not, in all honesty, a little bit cheaper. So yeah, 2017, I think, was the new bottle design. Yeah, it was a good call. Um, all right, Katie, what do you got here? So the real perspective, no matter which profile is for you, at 50 to 75 bucks, all JD, ECB, Russell, 17 foolproof picks, Casey. These are all great bottles, and not 150. Yeah, probably. I mean, fair point. That's why I was just always wondering, like, people just want to say automatic pass on this thing, and I've always wondered, like, well, why? Like, why are you just passing on these things? I guess if you just like what Kitty just referenced more, fine. But I still don't think in today's day and age for what these things are that it's a bad value. I still think overall it's a really, really good bourbon for a pretty darn good price for the most part. So anyway, let's go through some of these things and then we'll kind of wrap it up. But I wanted to do just a little side by side of the A, B, and C here, just to kind of get a little idea of maybe how this thing has gone this year. This is the first time I've tried all three of them next to each other at all. So, but again, there was no right or wrong. I just wanted some context and from people as to why they're passing. I think for me, it seemed like a lot of it had everything to do with an age statement that maybe people hadn't even tried and just saw 9 years, 1 month, or were like, nah, I'm just going to pass on this, and have never tried it, had no idea. I'm not going to pay 75 bucks. And that's why I was kind of wondering. I'm like, well, why? Like, what was the reasoning for not buying that, considering that people will spend $100 on, some other whiskey that, could be whatever, and maybe not even in the same category as an ECBP, but you're good with $100 for this thing, but not 75 for this. I was just kind of curious as to what and why some of that was the case. I would say with all of them, you know, again, you buy what you want, it's your money, but I think each one of them is worth buying at 75 bucks. I get the whole, like, I don't want all of them because I just don't need more whiskey or whatever it may be from that standpoint or more ECBPs. But I still think at the end of the day, knowing what each profile is kind of a cool thing for me. But anyway, so let's go to A125 and see what this one was. I remember this being very oak forward. This is probably the first time I've gone back to it since I probably even did the review back in the first part of 2025 or 35. All right, so the pass. All right, well, whatever. I don't have quite 35, but I've got a bunch down here and a bunch downstairs, but might be close. So, all right, A125. Let's see what we've got here. So, what's up, Boyd? Good to see you, buddy. Yeah, this was kind of an interesting too. So I think a lot of like what Richie was saying, I think a lot of times people now are waiting to kind of hear what a lot of us have to say about these, and then maybe going out and buying once the bottle either has a little bit of hype or whatever it may be. And oftentimes now the releases are kind of like really lagging behind that, even though the C925 comes out in September, some people may not see this thing until, next year, early part of next year or something. So there is always that lag as well. And I think people oftentimes will wait to see kind of what things look like. So for sure, 100%, I think it will be in mind. Like the B525, I thought was probably like a modern day whiskey that I think works for just about anybody. Now, whether or not you just dislike the Elijah Craig like profile altogether, I can accept that. But like that was a very, very good whiskey. So I agree with Nicholas 100%. All right, let's see what we got. Yeah, I mean, it's still kind of like comes out of the gate swinging with a lot of oak. Little bit of that, kind of peanutty, nuttiness that it has. Not a ton of sweetness, a little bit of barrel influence. Wouldn't say a ton going on in the nose. Nice kind of chocolate or like espresso notes, but we'll see. Man, hot and dry. A little bit on that. Pretty hot. Even 118.2. 10 years, 7 months, 118.2, batch A125. That was one of the things I remember with it being hot, and it's still a little bit hot. It's one thing in whiskey that can be, I guess I'll say, a very like off-putting thing. I've never been really a fan of a lot of heat. A lot of people really do enjoy that. I've never been one that enjoys a lot of that heat. Now I don't mind like a little bit of like a Kentucky hug, but I don't want like ethanol burn. And unfortunately, I was getting a little bit of that with the A batch. So yeah, it wasn't even like early on, it was not one of my favorites. But again, that's just the way it goes with some of these things. So, it was odd or interesting that it was such a lower proof one as well. We hadn't really seen anything that had been like that low in proof in quite some time. Why they came out at that, I don't know if maybe they were more barrels that were blended from some of the lower floors, mixed with a few high floors with more oak. Maybe that's where a little bit more of that kind of tannic oak was coming from. Can't say it. Can't say the heat, says the guy from Wisconsin, man. We get warm. We get the same weather that you do in Iowa for the most part. So, except for we do get colder, but man, it was hot this summer for the most part. So, um, let's see. Krista says I scored B525 for my boyfriend yesterday. We cracked it last night and are blinding it now. So, are you blinding it with A, B, and C, or what are you blinding it with? I'll be interested to hear what you guys are blinding that stuff with, just as a comparison or to know um blinding it against. Yeah, they do suck. Man, they're the like New York chokers, man. They're getting their what's like handed to them by the Blue Jays. So, man, oh man. Yeah, Richie, she does. So wish she could make it to the Blitz this year, but she'll be there. She'll be enjoying some whiskeys and stuff with everybody. So yeah, it was kind of a slow process to get her into it a little bit, but yeah, she will drink some whiskey, no doubt. So all right, let's go to B and see where we're at. So go on. Oh man, yeah, night and day, like heavier, like way more kind of a cherry influence, nice oak, really nice brown sugar note. Just, I mean, it's so like well balanced. That's the thing. When you get into this thing, what was the proof on it? 120 something, right? Yeah, 126.2, 11 years, 6 months. So we're getting back into those nicer ages. And again, admittedly, you start to get into some of those higher ages, things kind of change a little bit. But again, it has a lot to do with where some of these barrels are coming from, where they've been stored. It has a huge impact on that profile that they want to kind of design for that particular blend. Yeah, this was just a very well balanced. Again, a little bit of that Heaven Hill nuttiness that's there. Wasn't It's not like beam like nuttiness where that's just like a really heavy, strong like peanut shell. This, if there's any nuttiness, it's always been a little bit more of a like kind of like a creamy peanut butter type of feel. You could almost kind of say a little peanut butter jelly with the kind of cherry that this thing has, or fruit layers. Beautiful, beautiful oak on this thing, though. Mm. So, night and day. I mean, the first one is hot, man. It burns like you were just drinking gasoline. It has that kind of heat to it. This has, again, a little bit of that Kentucky hug. There's spice, some fudginess that's there, some fruit layers that it has to it. Beautiful brown sugars. The spice on this is a little bit late. Sweetness a little bit up front, mid palate, late spice. Great long finish. I mean, the B525 is a great bourbon. You're approaching 12 years old, already at 11 and a half years old. Fantastic age. It's just a great bourbon. You can see when you start to get in or around those kind of ages where things kind of change a little bit. Now, in the last video I did, I had said or compared to said that the C was closer to A. We're going to find out whether or not that's the case. I want to see how close C is to B than A. And maybe I was wrong when I did the review. So I don't know. We'll see here in a second. But I mean, B is an automatic buy. If you can find those things still, I think it's that good of a bourbon that for anybody who enjoys a great cask strength bourbon, to me, that just is like tried and true. It feels like very, very just well done. Like it's a really, really good bourbon. Just one of those things you feel like you could, drink all night. You couldn't, but we'll see. Oh man, you're going a little old school versus some of the 20s. All right, that'll be interesting. I mean, B525 is good. So let's see, B525. One was this 126, right? Yeah, 126.2. What were the 520 and 521s in terms of proof points on those? I thought those were all going to be pretty darn close for the most part, but it'll be interesting to hear what that is. All right, let's go on to C925. Let's see what we've got. Let me take a oh man. Boy. Oh man, yeah, the nose is already I'll say the nose is closer to B525 than it is A125, at least the C. So you can see, I mean, it's still pretty dark. Hold up, B. Pretty close as well. Let's see if we can give you guys a little. Let's see, there's C and B. So yeah, pretty close. So let's see what we got with C. Yeah, I still think you get some of that kind of like creamy peanut butter. A little bit of a fruit layer that this thing still has. I got a little bit of this kind of Luxardo cherry, a little bit of like a chocolate note. Oh man. Like it's closer now, like with these things like this, it's way closer to the B batch than it is the A by far. It does give you a little bit of that kind of nice tobacco leaf note. So it's even changed, I'll say, even from a week ago when I kind of sat down with this thing. I had only had it open for like a couple days, was trying to introduce as much air as I possibly could to this thing. But I think it's starting to open up even a little bit more. Yeah, it's a nice nose. Like I don't know if I mean for in the comments I had somebody had said this was the worst one they ever had. I'm like, I don't know. I was kind of blown away by that, but let's see what we got taste wise. Cheers, everyone. Thanks for hanging out tonight. Appreciate it. Man, nice oak, good brown sugars that it has on it. Still think you get some of that kind of cherry note that was there as well. Yeah, I'm gonna say this thing just like right off the bat and doing a comparison. It is very, very close to the profile of the B525 than it is A. Like A is not even in the league of B and C in my opinion. C has much more going on, even with the age. What was A? 10 years, 7 months. So what do we have? So a year and what was that, year and 5 months? Yeah, a year and 6 months. So even with C being a year and a half younger, in terms of the youngest blend that's in there, we don't know what else is there. So that's a huge deal as well. Um, it's much richer. I'm gonna say like C is a lot closer to B than it is A. Like it would be, like B and C, and then down the road A. Like it doesn't even seem to be in the same category. So I will say this with the C925, I think at the end of the day, like it's a very good bourbon. And at $75, man, I don't know. Like I know I say like must buy or whatever like that, but you know, I wouldn't be disappointed in paying $75 for that bourbon, considering what it is that I've paid for other things and have been less underwhelmed by that. So like I'm a fan of the C, and I think as it opens up, I'm kind of waiting to do that kind of final video of the year just to see what changes a little bit more between C and B. It'll be very interesting doing them blind to see kind of how it ultimately kind of shakes out. But right now, I'll say this, man, C and B are very, very similar. It almost feels as though now there has become a little bit more than when I was reviewing it a few days ago, a little bit more of that Luxardo cherry note that started to kind of pop out on this one. So, um, let's see. Yep, Travis, still going here. Oh yeah, man, don't worry about that. I never need 12 hours. I'm kind of an early riser to be honest. So I don't need a ton of sleep to be honest. Um Got to get to the next Mash and Journey one. So we'll see what comes of the next one. So anyway, there you go. I think we're close. I think we had a fun little debate. Here's the kind of the final thing. So if you guys are going to go to or have already gotten tickets to the Blitz, just put in the comments Blitz. Then that way I see everybody who's kind of going and know everyone who's doing. Just put Blitz in the comments, and I'm looking forward to this. Again, slight shameless plug. If there's anybody who is considering, we've got a few tickets left. If you're on the fence about going, anybody in the chat who's been to any of the prior ones can let you know how good of a time that it's going to be. And this is the fun part, is it gives us the opportunity to meet up with you guys. Again, some people for the first time have a really good time. It's a fun event, a couple of days, probably in all honesty. You've got a lot of people who start coming in on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. A lot of people will be on outs. I mean, you've got a good 2.5, if not 3 days of being able to do a lot of really fun things. So if you're somehow on the fence, these guys can let you know how good a time it really is. Jason and I, we put a lot into the whole entire thing, and we want you to have a good time, and we want to see you guys having a good time. That's the most important part. We look forward to doing it and seeing you guys, and we appreciate all the support that you've given each of us for a long time. So it's going to be a great event. So I rest the day you leave. So I'm steering clear of Travis Robeson. So stay away from that guy. But no, in all honesty, we appreciate everything. Again, if you feel inclined, or you have a friend who's a millionaire and you want to buy up the last few tickets, we appreciate it. So I put a link in the description, or link in I pinned the link. That's what I did. And I'll probably throw it in the description of the video as well. But still a few tickets available. Going to be a great night. Let's see, Friday, October 17th at Heaven Hill, and Saturday, October 18th at the Trail Hotel. We'll be doing an event in the afternoon there. We brought in some distillers from kind of, I'll say, all over. A lot of you know who they are, but a lot of great stuff. And it's going to be a pretty fantastic event once again. So it looks like at this point, weather is looking really good. Knock on wood that it stays that way. We're not going to deal with a hurricane or typhoon. I did see Louisville was getting getting hammered by rain, so I'm hoping to God that we steer clear of any of that. Have a good time, but we'll be at the Fairfield for a nice bottle share. At least on Friday night will be the main one. Some probably good cigars and good fun, everything. So it's gonna be a good time. So some of you will be the first time I've met. Some of you will be not the first time, let's say, and just excited to get down there, see everybody again, and have a good time. That's the most important part. So Trying to see. So I guess with that, I don't know if I'll be live next Tuesday or not. We'll see how it all kind of shakes out in terms of what we've got going on and when we're going to be heading to Kentucky and getting ahead of things. So let's see, Thursday, we will actually be doing our community blend, which has already been spoken for. That will be over at Luxrow. We're going to be doing that with Penelope. They have pulled barrels. I know Danny has gone in ahead and selected barrels for us to use for the blending process. So we're going to have 3 teams of 4 that will go head to head, and ultimately myself and Jason will judge the blends that you guys put together, and the winning team will be the, I guess, representing team for the Community Blend 2025. So we'll have each of your name put on the bottle for being a part of that team. And yeah, you guys will represent what it is we're able to share with the Mash and Journey Whiskey Club. So that will just be for you guys. We're not going to do, and we'll probably have enough of them. So we should be able to share several of those with people within the club. So that'll be fun to finally get a handful of those bottles out to hopefully a lot of people. We can probably do a nice blend there. So looking forward to that. So yeah, weather right now looking hopefully good, and all of that. So should be a great time. But yeah, thanks again for all of the support. Looking forward to seeing a lot of you and meeting some of you for the first time starting next probably Thursday or Friday, I'm guessing at this point. Yeah, probably Thursday. And yeah, it's going to be a great time. So all right, Krista, what do you got for us? So B521 last, B520 and B520 for B525 were a toss-up, both great but different. It just, I mean, man, B525 is a great bottle. So no doubt about that. So Richie, man, you got to get to one of these blitzes this year. So you're going to have to bring security. I think when Richie comes into town and people finally start to meet Mr. Richie Z, he's going to need security and stuff around him. So Girth can handle that. So he's small and thin, short, all that good stuff. But Girth will be able to provide good security. So, all right, Corey, you guys are heading down on work all week. All right, fair enough. So, anyway, with that being said, hey, I've got it pinned in there for anybody on the fence. The link is there. All you gotta do is press it, buy a ticket or two, and you're on your way. So if you can do it, it's going to be next weekend. October 17th and 18th in Bardstown, Kentucky. A lot of great things going on, a lot of great people. So anyway, with that being said, thanks guys. Appreciate everybody for tuning in tonight, hanging out for a little while. And as always, remember, it's about the journey and not the destination. If I don't see you next Tuesday, I will see you next, at minimum, probably Thursday or Friday next week. So anyway, thanks guys for tuning in tonight. We will see you next week. Take care, guys. Have a good evening. Cheers.